Good morning and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. It is just ahead of the open. Had a chance to trade a little bit last night. So as you know, kind of fought the market yesterday, looking at selling. Even in the sell mode, could have had some decent success on the small targets, but I had used a little bit of a bigger, smaller target. So usually I go for around 50, depending on the symbol, but between 50 and 75 per contract on the smaller target. But yesterday I thought, well, things might stretch out a little bit. I'll go for 100, and that did not pay off. And so market looked at the small target a couple of times, did not fill, and so ended up having some losses, but was able to trade in the Asia session. So it's evening hours for me. And from the look of the price here now, I should have just stayed long the whole night. I took a couple long trades in the NASDAQ at support and was able to, I felt really good. I was like, oh, hey, I was able to pick up, I think it was 13 points or so. I think my first position I picked up like 9, and my next one I picked up in the teens. But anyways, could have been a lot more than that. All right, so we've got some, obviously, decent size gap here. I put a couple lines on. That's just looking at some noteworthy areas in the overnight session. And so every morning I just do a little review of the overnight and see what's what, if there's anything that stands out. And I'm just assuming audio and video is working. I'll type in here, welcome. All right. And so if you can hear me, just type a yes. That's good. Hey, James, thank you. Good morning. And so good size gap to the upside here. I'm just going to take a look around. I've also added a couple of symbols. We had some folks ask or point out, say, hey, this is what's happening in crude right now, or what's happening in gold. And so I thought I'd add those. So you'll see that in the tabs here at the bottom, but we'll look at that in just a minute. So I'm just going to make sure everyone's levels are uploaded. And so if you have EdgeMinder on your chart, then you should have your EdgeMinder zones should appear. And if you have any issue with that, good morning, Sergio. Thanks for saying hello. How are you? If you have any issues, just let me know, and we'll correct that right now. And that way, it doesn't you don't miss out. I'm actually going to set a sell line here in crude. And so we added crude. This is June. I'm sorry, this is gold, pardon. looking at one thing, saying another. So I'll be modest here. Small target, 6 ticks, that's $60. And crude is off to the races. And so all of the futures contracts, all of the months are June. So for symbol NQ, NASDAQ, ES, S&P, YM, Dow, RTY, Russell, GC, Gold, CL, Crude, you should have your EdgeMinder zones loaded on your screen, and they should match what I have put onto my screen. And so as you can see, we're a ways off of EdgeMinder support in all of the stock indices, just quickly looking through. I've got a noteworthy level here from overnight, and so far we can see YM is taking a look above. It's got a decent amount of price travel. It's actually quite good, over 70 points, but in view of today's normal movement, it's just a little bit of a look at the moment. So we've got our sell line working in gold, and so I'll leave the chart on that, and then I just need to type a message here real quick. I'm right here, though, if you need anything. And just as a friendly reminder, the setting that you use to make sure that your zones appear, your time frame, trading hours, just want to be the day sessions. So like we're looking at gold, so NYMEX metals, RTH1. And if we switch over to NASDAQ, time frame, trading hours, CME US Index Futures, RTH. And so you'll want to have those match. The whole idea is you're seeing what I see, and so you just want to have your settings match as well. So if you're having trouble getting your EdgeMinder zones loaded, check your trading hours for the chart that you're checking, and make sure that those are the regular trading hours, that's the setting that you're using. And so hopefully that helps. Now we've got potential support. So just going to take a look through. We've got super day range support throughout. And we'll just move that buy line up to the top edge of support. Okay, so buy line set in NASDAQ. I'd say this is a bit of an aggressive buy. And so I'm just going for, like I had mentioned at the outset here, I'm going to go for a modest profit objective. Okay, so Chaim, thanks for your questions. I appreciate it. And so if you can see my screen, I've got settings. I clicked data series. And so you can find that. You can right click. It's the fourth one from the top. Once you're there, time frame, trading hours, and for gold, this is your session. Excellent, good. And now, perfect, we'll switch over to CL. So this is crude, and this is a chase. So I'm just setting a buy line here in crude as well. Modest first target, and crude has been going throughout the European session into today so far. Let's see here, crude setting, data series again, trading hours, and here's your setting for crude, NYMEX Energy RTH. So just double checking my buy line placement, just making sure it's at the top of support, making sure it's at the bottom of resistance in GC and gold. Okay, I just want to confirm with everybody. James, thank you again. I appreciate it. And Sergio, just want to make sure everybody's good to go. Rich and everyone else, just glancing at the names here. And a big thank you. I know some of you here have had the chance to meet Bo, and he has helped you get things set up or answer any of your questions. And a big thank you to Bo, as he offers very solid assistance, and we're all grateful for that. All right, thank you. Nice to hear from you, Sujay. Thank you. Good morning, Rich. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so ES just off of support. CFGC's made it. Okay. So we may have something here soon in gold, as it has continued to press up into EdgeMinder resistance. Just going to adapt and move our crude buy line. Crude oil buy line now 2374. To activate, click long. Make sure the button is green. Our short button is green in crude, so it's looking for us. And just going to adjust. It looks like our EdgeMinder zone has, our super day range zone has moved just slightly. So 1287.6 is our buy line in RTY. Same location for Dow, 23905 support. ES support 286675. And NASDAQ 8924 3/4. And so those are all active.
Order submitted.
And possible trade here in RTY if the market wants to continue to push. The bid may continue to overwhelm the offer, as it has since yesterday afternoon, essentially. Had a deep pullback in the European session, but that has since been explored and new highs have been achieved since the European session. Just going to take a look at gold. So still no orders in gold, just waiting. RTY will just, YM will just move our zone slightly higher. 23909. Our ES and NQ zones have not changed. YM has changed slightly. We just moved it to 23909. RTY, we have an order working based off of our buy line at 1287.6. The market's currently a 1.5 below the potential breaking point, where the market could see an ease of movement to the upside, and crude is pulling back finally, and so we may see a possible trade here in crude. So waiting on RTY. I've reactivated the strategy, made sure the long button is still green.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Okay, so prior order is canceled. We have a new possibility of a fill now, though. So still looking at a possible trade.
Order submitted.
All right, so just got filled. And going to make sure my stop's where I want it. Looking for the smaller target.
Order filled. Order submitted.
Okay, got another trade, I'm guessing. Here we go. So I'm just going to put the stop just outside of the range of that recent push in gold. Check crude, still nothing there. RTY, small target achieved. Just going to move the stop to the entry. So we either make the small target and move on, or look for a bigger target here, but it's up to the market to follow through at this point. No fill and no change in Supra day range so far in NQ as well as ES. And YM touched our zone that we readjusted, but did not trigger a trade and is now pushing to higher highs. RTY starting to wake up a little bit more. And our gold trade still basically just at our entry. Possible small target if the market can only drop about another 5 or 6 ticks.
Order filled.
Okay, so just got a fill in gold. So small target achieved. Stop at the entry, so same story, just different direction. Gold, we're looking for a drop. RTY, we're looking for follow through to the upside. The market did nearly, but not quite, hit our slightly larger target. Looking for 4 points. Positive movement in RTY. For gold here, going to put my stop at 10.9, very close to the market. That'll be a small target across the board. If it doesn't follow through, comes back, stops out, we made small target across the entire trade. Same thing here now. I'm just going to move this RTY stop up to 91, so we're getting the small target regardless. That's mainly due to the fact that we're very close to the larger. And so would like to see just continuous follow through, and the market's almost there. And very nice, gold is giving in a little bit now.
Order filled.
Okay, just checking it, and larger target just filled in RTY, so able to pick up from 1290 to 1294 even. So 4 points there. Our buy line has moved just slightly, but the market's decently off and still pushing. Going to adjust the buy line in YM. Adjusting also here in ES as the market continues to push our overnight levels. And actually, Cham, hopefully you're watching here. I'll move the buy line. I'll do a little slower though. So if I want to move the buy line, I just click buy line, and then I click anywhere on the chart that I want that buy line to go. And so I want the buy line to go at the top edge of this super day range support. And so I just click at the top edge and there it is. To activate it, I just click long and make sure the button is green. And NQ, we have a change in zone location. And so we will just make sure that is also active. Checking back on GC. So stops at the smaller target. Market's currently up decently. Just going to wait on this, I suppose. Worst thing that'll happen is the unrealized profit will go away and the smaller target will be all there is. But if it can follow through, that would be a nice trade. $4 move in gold. Crude's at support, so we may see a trade here in crude. Tradulator is working for us right now as we're checking other markets. But super day range support, our buy line matches the top edge of day range support, so that's where it belongs. And Tradulator line is active. We can see the green highlight on the long button. And just taking a look as the indices continue to push. So filled on RTY, but much like my trade last night in the Asia session, could have done just fine just holding on. But obviously when you are looking for a shorter term trade, you're not in the multi-day holding business necessarily.
Order submitted.
Okay, so an order just went in. Let's see. Those were all off, so I'm going to guess it's in crude. Okay. Chain, let me see here. RTY. Just checking on. Okay, good. Gold's still moving decently. So we're 10 ticks away from the larger target in gold. Chain, you had a question on RTY as our zone has moved. So I'll just go ahead and move our buy line. So Tradulator buy line is now at 1291.2. In indicators chain, you should find Supra day range in your Trading Supra folder. Just going to move my buy line in YM. So just clicking buy line, so it's green, and then going wherever I want it to be next. 23932 is the top edge of our day range zone. So I'm just moving it as it travels here. All right, that's moved just a little bit in NQ as well. So our new Tradulator buy line 8932. It looks like an order just went in. So let me check back here. We had an order working in crude. Yes.
Order filled.
Okay. Small target reached in crude.
Order filled.
And I think our gold trade just worked, and it did. And so picked up $4 per contract. That's $400 per contract in gold on the larger target, 50 on the smaller. And our NQ line is correct. ES line needs to be changed. So ES line is now at 286975 as the market continues to venture upward. And currently still long crude, so I'll go ahead and expand this out. Hopefully we can see it a little better. Whoa, a little too good. Okay. And so some decent cooperation now. Stop actually is not at the entry. There we go. Now it is. And so if crude wants to snap back, we'll have picked up $50 per contract on the smaller target. If it wants to follow through, we're just looking for a retest, a look at the recent highs as the market's now decently off of our buy zone. I'm going to move this to our small target up at 88. So if it comes back now, it's going to be a small target across the board. Looking for the market to retest the highs. And if it does, long from 83, out at 23, quick math, 17 plus 23 is what? So, and conveniently, Sergio, you have a question. Let's see here. So just to help, if it helps simplify things, Supra tools are in two categories, and you can access those categories a multiple of ways. I'll just right click and show you here. Tradulator is in the category of strategies. And so if you want to access Tradulator, go to strategies, click, and that will open your strategies window. And there at the top left, you'll see Supra Tradulator is listed, and there you can control it and tell it what you want it to do. The other category, so that's one category, strategies. The other category for Supra tools is indicators. And the Supra tools such as Supra Day Range, Edgeminder, Supra News, all of these are in the category of indicators, and you can find them by right-clicking and going to indicators. You click, and then you can open the indicators window, and similar to strategies, top left, you'll see Trading Supra, and actually we've organized it into a folder. And so you're able to simply go into the Trading Supra folder, and then all of your Supra tools are right there. And so if you want to use, for example, Supra Day Range, this zone that prompted the crude long trade that we're in right now, you would go to indicators, and then in your Trading Supra folder, you would find Supra Day Range. And then just simply add it to your screen, and you will get this data as well. And so hopefully that helps. As gold, here it has continued to sell off, so more available in both of those trades. So just checking to make sure that the buy line is at the top of support. So 2870 is our Tradulator buy line in ES. And just going to adjust it slightly here in NASDAQ. 8933 and a quarter, Tradulator buy line in NQ. 23932 in Dow. 1292.4 in Russell, which that kind of hurts to look at. We were long and could have just had a pain-free long trade. Same with gold. Could have had a zero problems short as it continues to push downward. Crude working out well though. And so looking for $24.23. Currently the market's at 24.03 roughly. Stops at 88. So still looking at a small target stop placement. And I'm going to move that $50.05 in favor. So now the worst thing that'll happen is if there's not slippage, get stopped out at 93 for a 10-cent gain. That's $100 a contract in crude. All right, so excellent. And thank you for this note, Bo, as the market's now really within a shout of the larger target. And so looking for 40 cents in crude, 40 cents worth of cooperation. I didn't see anyone send in the math answer, so. Anyways, thanks for the note, Bo. You said if you have not yet imported Supra Day Range, please download it at, and thank you for the link as well as these nice instructions. Bo wrote, go to Tools, import NinjaScript add-on, and import the zip you downloaded. Supra data will be removed in later versions. You can just disregard Supra data. Excellent. Okay. All right. So thank you. So it's been a lot of talking here. Just one thing to do after the next. Does anyone have... did anyone take any trades? And if so, how did they go for you?
Order filled.
And was crude kind? It was. How crude. All right. And so picked up 40 cents in crude. And so the larger target, and sorry, I know it's nice to watch that as my daughter would say, that's so satisfying. She loves watching these. And so anyways, we missed the fill on that larger target, which is always beautiful to watch, but looking around, we missed it. But 24.23, long from 83. And so we just had trade you later buy line at the top edge of super day range. Thanks, Bo. Sure. Just click Chaim. Thanks for all this, all your help, Bo. That's very helpful. Chaim, you want to just change to show dollars. So just click where it shows the ticks. Just left click on it, and you'll get through a couple. It'll show percentage of your account, I think, and it'll show ticks. But one of those options, it'll show your P&L in dollars. And so, yeah, I'm curious, like Bo wrote here, did anyone follow my trades? Please let us know how you did. I am curious to know, I've talked to, everyone here in some way or another, either in WhatsApp or on the phone or whatever. And, as I've told all of you, I made everything you see, I made so that I could be more efficient, be more effective, be more profitable. But offering it to others, it's a way to push you forward and give you something that you would not possibly ever find or may not survive long enough to find it. And I know that sounds really dramatic, but believe me, there's only so much energy and focus you can devote to something. There's only so much time you have, and there's only so much money. All of those are limited, and trading consumes all of them. And so, crude buy line 2383. And so rather than not helping, basically having some, I recall very clearly hiring someone who told me, hey, yeah, I can help you with this. And so I'd send them money, and then I'd talk to them. And, this was back in the early 2000s, stuff like that. Or someone would put together some PDF, and I'd think, oh, that's the Holy Grail. And I'd send them money, and they'd share it with me and all this. It's like, here's some real tools. If you're serious about moving forward as a trader, here's a process where a lot of hard lessons have already been factored in. And so some days, like yesterday, some days it's a fight. Some days the market produces mixed signals. And some days you call it like an ace and you're, amazing and oh my word, it's so perfect. And then other days, like yesterday, you fight the market, and eventually you realize, hey, I'm fighting. And then in the Asia session, you get long and and you do okay. But, and then other days it works well. But overall, when you have a process that's well thought out, it puts you in a position where you're fighting less and winning more often and winning more easily. As crude continues to put a little salt in the wound here, but there's no complaints whatsoever. We had a great trade in crude. It's just nice to see how effective it was. Moving the buy line in crude, 23.90. And so anyways, I've talked to each of you, and this is mainly the reason why I do this, is to give you guys a leg up and a chance to Not in a bad way, but kind of cut in line. There we go. And kind of get to the front a little faster. There we go. Clear my throat. Nothing like being 43 and remembering exactly what your dad sounded like and then realizing, holy moly, that's me now. But that's what happens. And so anyways, hopefully these tools help, but I would love to hear. That's kind of the long approach to asking you and imploring you, hey, tell me, how'd you do? And so please, if you did, and maybe you just observed, obviously had a lot of things going at once. And like I've said before in other sessions, some days we'll sit here and it's just like watching the dandelions grow. And then other days, there's always something to adjust and always something to do. And so if you were just observing, just let me know. But if you were able to get and be a part of any of these, YM getting within range now, our buy lines 23948. And it's up above that at the moment, but we'll see if maybe it wants to pull back as RTY continues to have a bid here today. Just push, push, push. Market's a good distance above our large target. And so we're currently flat, but had a flurry of activity. Okay, and so let's see here. Sergio, if you don't mind telling me, I don't understand what you mean by you can't find tools. And so just describe it a little bit more, and I'll catch on, I promise. Let's see here. And another question. Okay, so just a few NinjaTrader questions here. Some people want this countdown timer, and that's just in indicators, and it's alphabetized, and it's called bar timer. And so that's just right in your indicators. That's not part of the Trading Supra tool set. I can't find. Okay, thank you. Yes, chain NQ trading hours, same as ES. RTY, YM, ES, NQ, all run on the same trading hours. The CME US Index Futures RTH. And if you're not getting data for that, that's strange, because if you're getting ES data but you're not getting NQ, that's strange. But that would be a question 2 for your broker, and just make sure that your data is enabled. And then you could also email NinjaTrader support, and there might be a setting there. Okay. So hurry, 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 and now we're waiting. That was a great trade in gold. That was fantastic. All of our trades, and I say our, I'm assuming no one has written in to tell me. Yes, Rich, I'm talking to you, Sergio, Steve, Sujay, others. Nicely. On these trades, we were able to put our stop at our entry and protect the small profit and just level it out and let the market do the heavy lifting. And so some days, it's great when that happens, especially when it happens so quickly and so easily. And today just happened to be one of those sessions, so very nice. So a pretty swift pullback here. Market's giving in decently. So just looking around, 23.90 is our buy line location for crude. Market pushed up. The previous high was in the 24.20s. Our target was 24.23, got filled. Market then pushed up just under 24.50, so about another 25 cents in upward movement. Okay, good news, Sergio. Fantastic. Okay. Oops. Sent that to only you, Bo. I didn't mean to do that. So here, I'll send it to the group now. If you took a trade the same as or similar to mine, I'm just curious if you did, and if so, did you use similar targets or what did you opt to do? My guess is, Sujay, you held RTY up to 1303.6. Okay, thanks, Steve. So Steve says he's just in learning mode right now. So good. That's part of the process too. All right, so hovering at and just above our buy line in YM, similarly in ES, and I'm going to guess similarly too in NASDAQ. RTY still a little bit above. Nothing working in gold. We had our trade. The long and the short buttons are deactivated. They're red. And so nothing on the horizon there.
Order submitted.
Can I just go back and check? Okay, so YM, just making sure any others. Nope. All right. So YM, we may have a fill here.
Order submitted.
And we have a fill. And so let me just move this over. So YM, looking for a smaller first target of only 9 ticks. Okay, let's see here. Thank you for sharing. I missed the comments while I'm looking at this fill here. Okay, yes, Sujay, yesterday was a beatdown. All right.
Order filled.
So small target filled in YM. So I'm going to put it at the entry. And same story, just looking for the market to either follow through or not cost me anything. Those are the two options. The two choices. Just going to check our other markets here. I know I got a new message, but just let me check. So NASDAQ, buy line, 8942 3/4 so far. No new orders. ES, hopping up off of after trading just above our buy line. YM, cooperating decently. It's gone to double our smaller profit objective. And so I will very soon crowd that trade, but I'm going to give it a moment. Gold, we're not working on anything in gold. As you can see, though, overnight activity does seem to be influencing so far our day session. As you can see, the market, it did sell off, but it landed right at. That's a zone that I just highlighted manually. And so far, market's reacting to that a little. Crude still up off of our byline. Byline's at 23.90. YM basically staring at our small target. And so we're at break even on the remaining portion. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more room. And now let me check the comments here. Sorry. Steve says, thanks for sharing that. Let's see here. Sujay. Yes, so a little trigger shy today. Yes, because yesterday was just, you can see what a small, how a seemingly small decision. I've got YM on the screen here so we can see it. It may come back and stop out at entry. It pushed decently, went double the small target. I nearly put my stop at the small target, which we would have been out at this point, but I left it alone. So we'll see if that has any more life in it. Looks like NQ. Possible fill coming in NQ. ES no. YM still hovering. RTY almost but not quite to our byline. And crude coming back near 23.90. So we will see. And yes, I did kind of totally forget what I was just about to say. But oh, yesterday. Yeah, so small choice. So yesterday, very small choice. I thought, seemingly small. I thought I'm going to just go for a slightly richer small target. That'll be good. Instead of making 50, 60, 70 like we have here today, even 45. Instead of making that, I'm going to go for 80, 90, 100. And market almost gave it on multiple occasions, looked at the tick, stared at it, but wouldn't fill. And so here today, a little bit more of a modest approach. And it's been, obviously each day is different. It's been a lot of follow through here today. Yesterday, fighting the market. But it's much, much easier when you're just able to squeeze a little money and then protect your position, which is about what I'm going to do here. Order submitted. If it wants to push upward again, if it can get back near 100 per contract, I'm going to, so it went to 95. So I'm going to 63. All right. So stops at 71. There we go. I couldn't read it. Stops at 71 now. So a plus 8 tick. So if it comes back, it's $40 a contract. And I've got orders working somewhere I missed. So not crude, not gold. YM still long is working.
Order filled.
NQ just hit the smaller target. Stop at the entry on NQ. So looking for 10 points in this NASDAQ push. Going to move the stop now to 53. Stops at 53.25. And looking for the market to push up about another 4 points, and that will be the slightly larger target of 10 points. Crude still up off of its byline. Nice bounce in gold. RTY, no orders, no fills. YM still long.
Order filled.
And NQ came back and stopped out for the small target. So small target across the board in NASDAQ. No new orders in ES and still long. YM, we'll see. Okay, it's just about.
Order
there
filled.
We go. So small target across the board on those two. And so we've worked these supports a few times now. I'm actually not going to reset. And I will disable that. We've had how many trades? I'm going to turn that off. GC is off. And crude is off. I'm going to turn that. So they're all off. So at this point, we've had how many trades? Crude, gold, one apiece. RTY, we had one. YM, we had 1. Nothing in ES. And in Q, we had 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that, do you guys agree? 5 trades. All right, thank you. And I still meant to read this earlier here. And so Sujay, hopefully you were able to get some of these moves and do reasonably well with them. Bo wrote a note here. It says, just for everyone's information, I started out from scratch, not knowing what I was capable of. Jared unleashed a lion in me with these tools. Wow. Stay with it. Consistency. Don't get hung up with emotions. Trust the tools and you'll be great. The times I didn't make good progress was when I started deciding for myself where the market was going, especially in situations like last week where nothing happens. Awesome. Thank you so much, Bo. It's like a broken record. I seriously believe in a strong process. There's a reason why a McDonald's can open up on any continent in the world and hire pretty much anyone. And it can be younger people or older people. It can be female or male. It can be, basic education or highly educated. I worked at McDonald's when I was a teenager. One of the ladies I worked with, she had a master's degree, and I was in high school. But together, guess what we did? We followed the McDonald's process, and it worked. And it worked every day the same. It was always a success. We were fast, everybody was happy, and McDonald's made money every day. And so a process, when it is sound, does not overly stress or call upon the individual to make it work. And that's the belief that I have very strongly. And so that's what I put forward here is a framework. You can have your individuality all you want, and you can do whatever you want. These orders can be moved whenever you want to move them. But at least if you're pointed in a direction that will make you successful as just an inherent quality, hopefully, then that's the goal, is to help you on a path that actually pays off. I couldn't tell you how many fortunes of time, energy, and money I've wasted listening to someone push me or put before me a trading path that really was kind of doomed from the start. It was not sound. And so kind of had to figure a lot of this stuff out. So very much so, thanks for sharing. I agree with Chaim, Steve. Thank you, Bo. Thank you very much. All right, Sujay. So having some success today, modest success, but it feels good. It feels right. And the money will follow. Chaim, you ask, how do I choose targets? Very much so. Excellent question, Chaim. Thanks for asking. And so I just reduced this down a little bit, and now we'll just center it. So we're day trading, and we're looking at short-term possibilities. We're looking at, can I be right? Not that we're obsessed with being right, but I'm saying, can this idea work? Can this idea work in the next 10 seconds, 10 minutes? Sergio, I will right now. Here we go. Yes. And so good. That's fine. I'm not interested in trying to catch, So Sergio said, look at RTY. And so here we go. We have RTY. So, Chaim, how I choose targets. First target is really a money-based decision. It's really looking at, much like any other business, you don't want to be in so heavily where you bet the farm, and if one customer too few shows up, the whole farm goes away. You lose everything. No, of course it didn't fill, Sergio. There's no signal. Okay, I'll answer more in just a minute. But yes, correct. There's no fill in RTY. That's correct. I mean, there's no fill for me because I deactivate it. But I highly doubt there would be a fill here, even if you were running Trade You Later, because it's very bearish. So you want to be want to be right in the near term. You want to win in the near term, and you don't want to bet the farm and have everything have to be perfect in order for it to work. That's not a a fun way to run a business. Every once in a while, you get yourself into a tight spot. If you've owned businesses, you may have pushed really hard for a certain thing, and the market's not reacting, and then finally it does, and whoosh, it all comes in. But that's not how I want to trade, and that's not the direction I want to point you guys toward. What I want to point you toward are realistic, gettable, achievable mile markers, achievable progress. So first, the smaller target is really just getting it so that your commissions are paid, and like one trader I used to work with, he would say, just so you can put a slice of bread in your stomach. And so if you can make $50 a contract, 60, sometimes in the market's freely moving $100 a contract for your small target, but today it was somewhere in the range of $45 to $60. And so if you can put a little bread in your stomach with that small target and put yourself in a position, you don't always necessarily have to, and I don't always move my stop to my entry. But as you saw today, I'm pretty eager to make it a small winning situation and a no longer a losing situation. And if I miss out on the move, that's unfortunate, and you want to obviously make money as much as you can, but first and foremost, you want that balance in your account to at least rise. You don't want to take these thick cuts in your balance. And so it's a little bit of a challenge because you got to balance not crowding the trade with your break-even stop right away, but at the same time not leaving the window open for for some money to come out of your account either. Larger target, and that's probably more so what you were asking, Chaim. Larger target is almost always based on recent structure. Sometimes I'll factor in volatility, and the factor there, the change, is, if the market just is blistering, just moving, then I may expand my larger target. I may make it bigger, further from my entry. But in a typical situation, and I would call this, kind of, I was happy to trade, but, these are obviously very extenuating circumstances. Now, there's a possible, if you have your buy line working, so here's a possible fill in RTY as the market is pulled back very deeply now. There's no order placed, so you can see here's the notification, but there's no order placed because my long button is red. So it's not an activated buy line, but the market could possibly follow through here as it's just about to touch the order if you had it on. And so in a circumstance like this, I don't know if this is a good idea to be long all day, but I'm not trading huge targets. I'm not trading off of large data sets. These are shorter term trades. So you're looking to win. Can I win in the next 10 seconds, 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, things like that. And so if that time factor is also an influence with regard to picking targets. And so I look at the recent structure, and then, okay, so there's the fill in RTY if I had it active. I don't. Small targets probably getting filled if you had it on. All right. So hopefully, I know that was a long answer, Chaim, but I was trying to tell you a little bit more also. So hopefully that helped answer. But if not, just tell me, hey, that didn't do it for me, and ask me again. All right. So Sergio, thank you. Let me answer. Sergio, we're looking at RTY, and I'm just going to take a look around here real quick. So crude pulling back, gold in the middle, RTY we've watched, YM, new signal in YM as well. Looks like new signal in ES and no signal in NQ. I've activated my NQ buy line. It's been the more bulletproof throughout this this saga. And so if there's a fill here, I'm just thinking the smaller target is quite gettable. So that that's the main reason for choosing the choosing NQ. So back to RTY. Small target filled in RTY if you took it. I did not. Okay, so Sergio, if you get a resistance situation, so today bullish situation supports. So we have, here's Edgeminder support at the bottom, and then these moving support zones are our super day range. And then we have the green highlight, which is what we have here near this recent pullback. And that's just highlighting where TradeGelator found a shift in pressure. But I'm going to wind this back and we'll find something. Oop, I'll just reduce. Okay, so here's a bearish situation. This is what super day range resistance looks like. And if the market tests it and resolves, then the zone will move. And if it doesn't test it, then we wait for the market to revisit that zone. And so Sergio was asking, why is it not indicating to go short? Because there are no resistances so far today in today's session. But if you do get resistances, that's what they look like. Or I should say when you do, because you'll see them. All right, so far missed some small target winners. YM continuing now a new low in its recent pullback. RTY small target and still just marginally cooperating, which is nice if you're long. And I've deactivated. We've had a half a dozen trades or so, roughly. And I, with the market edging higher, but not, I just wasn't sure if I wanted to continue to buy these pullbacks, especially at the top edge. So RTY I think was a pretty decent situation, just because at least that pullback was quite deep. As you can see, the day's range, and it definitely went to below the midpoint of the day's range. And so if this whole idea that the market has put forward, if this bullish construct is legit, then this should hold. And so it's a nice spot to speculate on that. All right, so Sergio, if that answered your question, fantastic. And if not, please feel free to rephrase and send me. All right, Sujay. All right, yeah, I was kind of feeling the same way. Sujay said he's going to take off. He says, I'm going to jet. I remember I used to say that. So I appreciate it, Sujay. Yeah, I don't want to overtrade either. And so that's what I was about to say. We've had a half a dozen or so roughly trades. They were nice. Everything worked out. Got a couple of $400 per contract winners with crude and gold. And so overall, pretty swell. If you've ever watched Leave It to Beaver. And so now, just a small miss here. RTY is cooperating decently though. And so if you got that, great. But Sujay, have a good rest of your day. Stay safe. And hopefully if you can make it, we'll see you tomorrow. Yes, Chaim, exactly. Yes, green is support, purple is resistance. Let's see here, Sergio. Excellent. Okay. And Rich, did I miss a question earlier? Okay. All right, Rich, thanks. So a little bit of a bounce, and now gold's giving in yet again. RTY slowly cooperating. YM a little bit up off of the buy line. ES recovered. And NQ, no orders as the market's just above our trade you later buy line. And I don't see anything at the moment. I'm just going to grab a new hot cup of coffee. I'll be right back. All right, so NQ pulling back again. Just take a look around here. RTY, so likely only a smaller target in RTY, but still a nice small winner. Crude, if this were on, would just have triggered along yet again, but crude has been up, 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 and just like I've mentioned before, just don't want to continue to be the one holding the bag. But it may be a good, at least for a small target. So far, small target would have been filled here in crude. And so I realize what would have been isn't really fun to talk about, but I just thought I'd keep track of it. So far, small, subtle bounce in NQ. So we can see after these higher highs, RTY is not as bullish. We can see things kind of settling down and everyone kind of having a soul-searching moment here to see how bullish everyone wants to be. Small target reached in crude. Now it's back to the entry location. So that would be a small target winner. And that would be it for that. Pardon me. In NQ, I'm going to move my buy line to below the pullback. And so if it wants to pull back further, great. So far, no new triggers. And it's starting to push upward. Crude back in 23.90 at the moment. So looked above 24, but now settling in. And everything's somewhat calmed down now. Gold taking a look at its lows after bouncing off of the potential support zone. Looking at it, delaying at it, it's now taken another slightly deeper look. So gold can either recover from here or it's likely at a breaking point. So I know Sujay, he took off earlier, but he had mentioned he took some smaller target winners. And I'm curious if anyone else in, we had trades in NQ, we had trades in RTY, YM, crude, and gold. I'm curious if any of you here were able to get any of those, and if so, how it went for you. If you got a fill, great, and were you able to keep anything from that positive movement? That's really where it's at. And so if you did, let me know. I know some of you are just still observing and in learning mode, like Steve mentioned earlier, but just curious how everyone did today. Would love to hear about it. NASDAQ skipping upward. So all of the indices here are still very much in the middle of their range. And crude starting to give in now. So 2370s. But any comments or questions? It is almost, let's see, it's about 10:45, and we close at 11. Close the live room. And so if you need anything, I think I'm going to leave these alone at this point. We've had a nice string of winning trades. Was looking for a possible fill here. I think I'm going to just deactivate though and just back off. ES deactivated. You know it's not active if your long and your short button are both red. So if you have a buy line, you use the long button. If the long button's red, it's off. If you have the long button green, then Tradulator is actively looking for a trade if the market pulls back to wherever your buy line price is placed. But I think at this point we had a decent little bit, and now the market's spent a good amount of time off of its high without much of a remarkable pullback, except for this small winner here in RTY. I would say this is, I didn't take it, but this is one of my top favorite trades. When you have a construct put forward by the market, it's implied bullishness, and then it comes down to, the lower third or so of that range. That's really the moment where the bulls have to either show up or get run over. And so we can see the market did have a bit of a reaction there, and the bid was able to at least achieve a smaller target based on a Tradulator trigger. But so far, that's all that it was able to achieve, and now it's back and slightly lower. And so not really interested in finding the magic price and the magic moment where the market will bounce. Instead, I'll just be content with what I have, keep what I have, and wait for another convenient time. So we'll let the market, the market has nowhere to hide. And so we can either chase it and be afraid, or we can put a process in place, let the market come to us, and then let the market work for us. Because we're never going to beat it with our own strength. We just have to be aligned with it. So looking at the day's range, still the pullback here for crude is pretty high pullback, not much give. Gold may wake up here. Like I was saying before, taking a look below this pullback, and it's really at the point where it's either going to pull itself together or we're going to see the bid have a hard time. RTY is putting in similar input. We'll go to NASDAQ, kind of the other end of the spectrum, the optimistic side. And NASDAQ, upper end of its range. So as I was saying, any questions or comments before we go today? Hey, thank you, Steve. I really appreciate you being here. And hopefully you know that I genuinely hope to assist you. If you're serious about putting in some work and want to really have some tracks that you can put one foot in front of the other and use, then I'm here to help. Let's see here. And so, Steve, thank you very much. Thanks for your comments. And let me see. I feel like I'm missing something here. Rich, you said bullish or bearish on NQ. Sorry, I missed that earlier. Well, I'm, NQ of all of them, I have traded it. It's kind of like last couple of weeks, NQ has been kind of like my best friend that I can't stand. I've had some awesome trades in NQ, big, nice movement, fast winning trades, things like that. So it's been nice, but I've only been clued into NQ occasionally, is honestly, if I'm just being straight honest, that's really how I feel. Because every time I look at it, I think, I'll size it up this way, and I'm wrong. But then I trade my system, the process that I've built, and it pays off. And so, personally, I feel like NQ is it's a dreamland. But in a market setting, a dream can last for a decade. and what's unreasonable and unwarranted can easily outlast your budget, your patience, and everything else. And so I keep trying to just put my personal viewpoint aside. And so in so doing that, I would say, what's my opinion of NQ? My opinion is it is resilient. The optimism in NQ is strong. It's high. The willingness to bid that market is very easy to find, easy to come by. The market effortlessly is optimistic toward NQ. That translates into resistances being broken and supports holding. And so the last couple of weeks where I've done well with NQ is just obeying the system. And so today, again, Rich, today I'm a little bit leery of buying it, but I was leery of it yesterday, fought the beast won, and then in the Asia session I decided to play nice with the beast and go the direction. Like the saying, if you ride a tiger, you go where the tiger goes. And so that's what I did. I went with NQ last night in the evening time, my time, and was able to pick up really, some pretty nice moves. Here today, bought it, made money. And so my opinion of it today is expect it to be resilient, trade at support. As you can see, we took the trade earlier at support. Wherever that was, they're all running together. I moved my buy line lower so that at least we're looking at some new information. That's the thinking behind the 8937 and a quarter buy line, is just looking for a fresh pressure to monitor. Now, if there's a new high, which would not be a surprise. If there's a new high, then obviously just adjust to the new circumstance. Don't stay parked at 37 and a quarter all day. So hopefully that helps, Rich. Thank you. Thanks for asking. But someone logged in as C2. Do you mind telling me your name, please? And no one else can see that, by the way. So if you're a private person, that's fine. Okay, Calvin. Hey, all right. Thank you, Calvin. All right. Chaim, what a fantastic typo. I do have a sister. Chaim, you said, how do you trade with your sister after market hours? So it's always by process. It's always by the system. So how do I trade my system after hours? Similar to this, only I have, and I can send this out. This is another member add-on. So for everyone who's a member, you get access while you're a member to additional data. And so I can send that to you. And that way you can have, if you want to trade the Asia session, you can have zones to work with that are pinned to, that are derived from the Asia session, much like we're using here. We're using information derived from the session we're trading, relevant information. And so you can expand that, and you can trade in the Europe as well as the Asia sessions. As long as you're a member, you get that data included for free with your membership. Much like Super Day Range, these other zones we've traded off today, those aren't an extra cost. They are an extra value, an extra benefit, in addition to the tool set, the radar bundle that you bought, that you subscribed to. Let's see here. So thanks, Calvin. And Calvin, if you need anything, you can message me. And I'm more than happy to help out. Sergio, I think, let's see here. Did I miss a question? Sorry. Sergio, you said, why do you put the buy line under the zone and not above the zone? And so this is a good question. Yes, my pleasure, Calvin. It's a good question, Sergio, and I'm glad you asked it. So I understand. Why do you put the buy line under? So I put it under. In this case, and I may have already answered this, but I'm going to draw. Where is it? There we go. So we've got from this period, so I'll draw from the left. So I've got from this period over here, the market in that box, which is not so pretty, but in that box, the market had made efforts to pull back. And those pullback efforts, the market marginally bounced. Okay, great. What I was as I had alluded to a moment ago, I was feeling like I don't want to be the one to hold the bag here at the top of the range, especially in view of the fact that European session, Asia session, yesterday's U.S. session, up, 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 up. And so at some point, the optimism toward higher prices diminishes, and that was for me. We're at that point. Without new information, I'm not too interested in just really pinning my hopes and dreams to these supports anymore, because especially after they've already paid. And so the idea behind moving my buy line below support, I know at first it looks very strange. The reason is we've already worked from the top of support. The market already did explore that range. And so now the only new information I'm interested in is if the market's able to trade beneath where it has already traveled. I want to see any new effort. How's that going? And what I mean by how's it going is it failing? Is the bid showing up yet again? If so, TradeRelator will recognize that and place orders accordingly. If the bid is no longer working, TradeRelator will stay on the sidelines and won't fill, and the market can just fall apart as it may. But I'm not interested in buying already traded, already tested support, if that makes sense, especially since we already had a winning trade off of it. And so, just after 11 o'clock, we'll go ahead and close. If I missed any of your questions, I apologize. There's a lot going on, but everyone's question is important. Send your question to hello@tradingsupra.com. And you can always reach me toll free, 800-339-3133. And so if you guys need something and I didn't quite cover it, you're more than welcome to email me and let me know, and we can talk about it tomorrow in the room. Or if it's something urgent, you can always just pick up the phone, old school style, and we can just get right to it. All right, so I think we're good to go here. Everyone, just have a safe rest of the day. We will be back. We start each day 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can log in a little sooner than that. And we'll get everything started and ready to go so that 9:30 we're all set, have everything in front of us, and hopefully the market produces some short-term movement that we can profit from. So everyone, trade safely if you're going to keep on trading, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.